Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing, salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing His word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Shah. And what I want to get into today, just dealing with, witchcraft, within this society, and see, or Esau, Edom, beginning with their top elites, these banking families who are heavily, involved into witchcraft, sorcery. That's why they're likened them to the modern Chaldeans. When you go into the ancient world, the Chaldeans, were a sect of the Babylonians, that was heavy, into stargazing, astrology, necromancy, and all these different things. On the left hand side, they was heavy into it, and they was like the elite class of the Babylonians, that was heavy into witchcraft, stargazing. And see, these same people, all right, these Edomites have taken on, all the customs, and the wisdom of that left hand energy of witchcraft and sorcery. They have taken it from all these ancient empires, and have pretty much made it one conglomerate, which has made Esau, Edom, the top warlock, all right, in the earth, man. The top witches and warlocks in the earth. A lot of these people that you see in high positions within this society are active witches and warlocks, man. And what Esau, Edom has done, through his media, which is nothing but enchantments, he has made people to take light, with witchcraft. That's why he puts it in the kids' movies and the cartoons, Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, and all these different movies, and cartoons that he puts, sorcery and witchcraft in to make light of it, Cinderella, all these different things, and he has made people to only associate witchcraft with something in a horror movie, or, is not real. They look at someone that practices it as if, it's just something that they're doing, but it has no power into it. But on the left hand side, the Most High has allowed, Esau, Edom to tap into that, man. But the left hand, that's one thing about coming to the ministry. We understand that even the left hand is controlled, by Yahweh Bahashem Shah. So I want to get these precepts, and then I want to play a video, because what's happening is Eve, is becoming, the trend amongst the nigga woman, to delve into witchcraft, man. So when you go to Nahum 3 and 4, it says, because of the multitudes of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, and that well-favored harlot is America. You see? And it says, the mistress of witchcraft, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcraft. So when you go into it, it refers to America as being the mistress of witchcraft, man. Because this place is founded, on witchcraft. The whole layout, pretty much America, the infrastructure of America, when you go into these different monuments and buildings, and the way the cities are designed, and the angle, that the building was built, it goes heavy into Satanism and witchcraft, man. This is a very, pretty much is like a satanic, a big satanic altar, man. You know. So as you read, I want to get that word mistress. All right, in the Hebrew, it's ba'ala'ah. All right, ba'ala. All right, which means mistress or a female owner. So showing you that what mistress is a feminine way of saying master. So America has become the master of witchcraft. All right, by doing what, man? Bringing all this ancient, witchcraft and wisdom from all these ancient empires of the heathen and wrapping it into one. You know, and this is a heavy portion of this man's society, and that's why when you go into Sirach 10 and 2, it says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. All right. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. See, we use this a lot, just to show how, of course, Esau, Edom, that's why you see this alphabet, vibration heavy in the earth, with all these lewd, sexual lifestyles, these lewd and defiled sexual lifestyles, that this man allows in his system, and he pushes that energy out, and you see how, this affects, society, because there's the ruler of the city, such as they that dwell therein, but also with his witchcraft. This is a society that's laden, all right, in witchcraft. That's why even on a low level, people use like witch methods, and right, knowingly and unknowingly. For instance, the art of of delusion. You know, delusion. Cause really, like when Jake talk about finessing, there's really witchcraft. Cause it's all about delusion and scheming. When Jake talking about this finesse culture that's amongst Jake, you see, that's really witchcraft. Like a woman, like I was speaking on earlier, like a woman, she can put all these pictures on social media. She can alter them, or she can is a certain angles. She can take picture of certain little tricks they can do with the camera. Well, she's selling a delusion, and men are enticed by a delusion, but that's not real. You see, but she's manipulating the minds of people through a delusion, and that's what Esau Edom has done. In earth, he has manipulated the minds of people in a delusion, because America is projected to the earth. It's just pretty much just like a beautiful woman. That's why even when John, the Revelator, he seen the whore riding the beast, he said he admired after her because it was a beautiful woman. And America is pretty much sold to these nations like a beautiful woman, but it's all a delusion, because this is the most oppressed, death-ridden society it is, man. So what I want to do, I want to get this video, and go from there. Now this just says why some black women are turning to witchcraft. All right, and we know our people. Matter of fact, before I get that, let's get this in. What it says in Samuel, because at the end of the day, all right, this is 1 Samuel 15 and 23. It said, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as an iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, he have rejected thee from being king. And this is what was said to Saul, because Saul was real rebellious. He had a self-willed mind, wanted to do his own thing. And we know our people as a whole have this same mind frame. See, rebellion is a sin as witchcraft. All right, because pretty much witchcraft, is nothing much but a rebellion against a righteous way. You know, that's really the left hand side trying to bless themselves with their own magic, trying to bypass, the power of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Well, like the scriptures say, the seed and the deceiver are his. Because these people that are into the left hand side, they don't know the Most High controls that. You can't go around him, all right, to receive power and blessings. And that's what witchcraft is. It's pretty much like I can do what I want to do. I can live my own standards, but I still can tap into, spiritual powers and, bless myself. That's why you do within witchcraft you have something called money jars, like they can bless themselves with prosperity, but the scriptures say that the Lord maketh rich and maketh poor. So witchcraft is nothing but is a way that people try to go around the authority of Yahweh Bashim Shai to receive power and blessings, man, without having to adhere to a standard. So witchcraft is a sin of rebellion. And we know, like I say, the tribes, men and women are rebellious as hell. But we know the most rebellion out of the men and women of Israel is by far the women, So let's get this.
I honestly believe Jesus was one of the most toxic relationships I've ever had in the entirety of my life.
You shouldn't keep your magic in the dark. Like, this is your soul. You need to share it to the world.
Let it rain on me now. So be it. So it is. I was a super Christian. I was raised in the church. I was a worship leader. I'm like singing all over the place and touring over here and crying out to God. How many times have I prayed to Jesus to show up for things that were actually needed and he didn't show up?
And see, this is why, a lot of these pastors have a lot of blood on their hands, because the narrative, and the doctrine that comes with Christianity, and pretty much that's why El Apostle Hart deemed it plantation Christianity. It has did nothing but led our people farther away, from the Bible, because people see what our people do. They throw out the whole Bible, when really they should just throw out Christianity and see what's happening, because people are leaving the church because the church, all right, is a joke, man. All right, there's no understanding, there's no growth, it's dry, it's played out, you see. But that doesn't give them, a cloak for their sin for going into witchcraft, because this has happened in the latter days. When you go to Jeremiah 3, all right, and 15, it says, "And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding." So now the Lord has set up men, teachers, prophets, all right, apostles. He has set up a whole body of teachers in these last days to teach our people with knowledge and understanding, all right, the correct understanding of the Bible. You see, that's what's happening in the earth. Even when you go to the book of Nehemiah, I believe it's is it 8? All right, this is Nehemiah 8:8. It says, "So they read in the book of the law of the Most High distinctly, and gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading." And that's what's happening now. Now the Bible is being unveiled. You see, now the Bible, all right, is being broken down in its purest form through the Holy Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai. So the understanding of the Bible is here. Christianity was trash, but the Bible, this where is it? So leaving Christianity, That's just phase one. You know, the next step is now what's gonna be your doctrine, man. And a lot of Eve is going into witchcraft, man. You know, just to put that out there. All right.
Melissa Whetstone grew up as a preacher's kid, but 12 years ago, she left the church. She says the community felt toxic, and she didn't feel a personal connection to Jesus.
Hi, how are you? I need the frankincense and myrrh I see is here.
She eventually discovered Lukumi, a religion that was brought to Cuba by enslaved West Africans.
It's just a beautiful.
Because of what you have to understand in Africa, you know, when we fled out of Israel, we went into the interiors of Africa, you know, mainly north and western parts of Africa, you know, which, you know, you still have Jake all over Africa, but, you know, that was the bulk of Jake, you know, went to the northern, you know, and western coast of Africa. And, you know, what happened with Jake learned the ways of the heathen, you know, being mingled amongst those Hamites, because a lot of idolatry and sorcery, you have to understand Satan, all right, this Satanism started with them Hamites. You see, the Egyptians, and you have the Babylonians, you know, going back to Nimrod, they was heavy into Satanism, you know. So Jake being around those Hamites, they learned, you know, that you know, that witchcraft, man, and they brought it, you know, over here, you know, like down here in New Orleans, you have a lot of those Levites, you know, because people think of voodoo, they automatically think of New Orleans. Well, you know, they trickled, you know, from them Levites that was brought over here and put on that island, you know, because the island was colonized, you know, by the French, you know, and the Spanish. All right, that's why you have half of the island, you know, with the French influence, dealing with Haiti, and then on the other half of the island you have the Spanish influence, you know, the Dominican Republic, because that island was colonized by the French and the Spanish. You see, but those Jakes that was brought over there, all right, to the islands, you know, they picked up that witchcraft, you know, from them Hamites, man, you know, and that's part of the reason why the Most High punished us like He did, man. You see.
Beautiful thing to be a part of. It's a beautiful community spirit. You're learning and growing with other people. So I really love it.
Black folks have left the church in higher numbers over the last decade than ever before, and younger generations are even less likely to affiliate with the church. But many young people are still seeking spirituality, and some are reviving traditions from Africa and the Caribbean.
And that's part of the curses, man, because you see Jake getting the hell up out them churches, you know. Well, I say that's phase one, you know. The next step is what's next, you know. And you still have a lot of Jakes that's falling to the wayside, but that's part of the curses, man. You know, because church is a played out tradition amongst Jake, you know, but Jake still, you know, seeking, all right, some type of spirituality, some type of connection to a higher power, you know, and if you're not of their remnant, their elect, yeah, you're gonna be led to madness, man. And that's why you get Deuteronomy 28 and 29. It says, "And thou shalt grope at noonday." Now noonday is the brightest time, all right, of the day. You see, and the truth is being made more plain than ever before in these times. This is the noonday, but our people are still groping for some way, you know, and the truth is being made plain right before them. And it says, "As the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee." Yeah, because we see our people, their minds are still spoiled. You know, they leave Christianity, but their mind is still spoiled by some other doctrine, some other philosophy, man. And that's part of the curse, that our people will be spoiled forevermore, showing you that this wisdom, this knowledge, you know, this correct doctrine, this is a privilege, man. There's a lot of people that seek, you know, a way. They seek the truth, you see, but it's only opening up to particular spirits in the earth, man, amongst Israel. So this is a privilege, man. That's why we should never be proud, you know. We should never feel like, you know, be content like we made it, like we got it. No, man, this is a privilege, man. You know, like we did something, like it's something so special about us. No, this is a privilege. This is the grace and mercy of Yahweh by Shema Shai that we have this understanding that we was pulled out of darkness. Our people, majority of our people still are groping in the darkness, man. You know? Well, that's why the Apostle Paul said this when you read Romans 11:7. It said, what then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. You see? So our people are still seeking, you know, some type of spirituality. They seeking some type of answer, some type of, you know, way out of their situation, you know. But they're not finding the truth. They're not finding Yahweh. You know? We on the path out of here, man. We almost gone. We almost out of here, man. Through Yahweh. We found the way. You see? But our people are still groping, man. You see?
Through practices that connect them with their ancestors.
Breakdancing made me feel like I had a home, like a place to wake up to, a community to come to.
When you see how free the birds fly.
This is my boveda, or my altar. A few glasses of water. That's just for my specific ancestors who watch and look over me. I have liquor that my uncle likes, you know. Gotta make sure he still get lit on the other side. I feed them, I talk to them, I spend time with them. Like, this is my place to be.
So can you talk about some of the differences in what you study now to what your relationship was with Christianity then? What are you getting out of Lukumi?
I get answers to my prayers. That I tell people that all the time. Like when they're like, "What's the difference?" I'm like, "Because my prayers are answered." Like that's one. When I come to my altar and I pray to my ancestors and I actually take my time to cry out, not only do I get responses, I get physical manifestations and answers.
You were born into a household where your dad was a pastor?
Yes.
How is that relationship with him now, and how did your family react?
I'm the black sheep of my family. I love my family to death. They love me, but we don't see eye to eye. They're like, "Girl, you going to hell, you gonna burn." And I'm like, if I was gonna burn, I'm pretty sure we will be burning together.
Ironically, it is often because of that kind of religious conservatism that people move out.
Dr. Yvonne Chareau studies African and indigenous religions.
A lot of these religions came to the United States after the Middle Passage, after the period of slavery. Like other immigrants, they bring their cultures and their religions. But because when they come to the United States, they're often met with hostility, they tended to be secretive.
Can you talk about the role that social media has played? Because especially if we're talking about the younger generation, they might not be as dedicated to being ordained and, you know, kind of doing all these rituals. But if I go up and down my timeline, now everybody's a witch. Everybody's burning sage.
Prior to the turn of the 20th century, they utilized the internet or whatever media was available in order to be spiritual entrepreneurs. They would sell goods and services. They would treat clients and so forth. With the coming of the digital age, and in particular social media, I really feel like younger people are grabbing on to some of the digital trends where they can sort of brand themselves as practitioners. It's a kind of identity to be a part of this. So the internet and social media has certainly helped to popularize it, but I really do feel strongly that this is something of a movement in that young Black people, they are reaching back, they are recovering that which is ancestral, but they're doing it in their own way.
Yeah. So do you want to light the candles? Should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to actually carve my sigils in the candle because they're from here.
Majori is a 29-year-old fashion designer living in New York who practices witchcraft. She casts spells with a coven of other young witches.
We're making money jars. So we're adding different herbs that manifest prosperity, money, success. I feel like, Hollywood and like in the movies, they kind of like gave this idea that, magic was scary. And it's like, is this scary? It's not.
Would you consider this your religion as opposed to being Catholic?
Yes, definitely. Divination is my main form of like spiritual practice, but being Catholic too, it still like resonates and there's like some roots in there. I feel like
And that's how you know Catholicism, is rooted, in witchcraft. She's a she's a divinationist and a Catholic at the same time, man. Because it's in sync with each other. It's all nothing but witchcraft practices, man. Eve bugged out, man. Let me get this real quick, man. Your precious Eve, this is Sirach 25:13. It says, "Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman." And what we're seeing is, hey, Eve left to herself and being liberated. This is what Eve is becoming, man. I say Eve wants to be everything itself, a wife and a mother. All right, Eve's a warlock. She a witch. She a astrologist. She a necromancer. I say she's a senator. All right, she's a federal judge. Eve wants to be everything except a wife and a mother, man. And that's them being liberated from under the men, all right, and left to their own devices, man. And we see what it has led to, man. You see, this is Sirach 25:24. It says, "Though the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die." Because when you go back to the garden, all right, it said through the woman came the beginning of sin. It's speaking of through the sons of God, all right, because Adam, was a son of God. Eve was a wife of a son of God, all right, and she was the vessel that wickedness came through, all right. Through her is the beginning of sin, and through her we all die, because that led to death, all right. That way that she took hold of led to death, amongst that lineage, all right, of the sons of God. Now, when you go to Genesis 3:1, it says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Yahweh Shah power had made. And he said unto the woman, hath the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree, all right, of the garden." Now, Edom came with that game, that serpent, all right, which we know, all right. Esau, Edom comes in the spirit of that serpent, all right. There was the spirit, the spirit that was in the serpent was of Esau, Edom. That same spirit that's in Esau, it was in the serpent, which was a man that was on earth. It just described him as a serpent because of his subtle tactics. Now, when you go to that word serpent and you go into the root word, which is nakash, and what does it say? To practice divination, to divine, to observe signs, all right, practice fortune telling, all right, to practice divination, man. So pretty much, all right, enchanter, enchantment, you see. So this is what the serpent brought to Eve, man. And we see Eve is like, it's natural for Eve to be into this, man. All right. So as you read on, it says, "The woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the trees which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High have said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die." And the fruit was speaking of these other ways. All right, you eat something, you digest it. The term food for thought. Because what Adam, all right, was a son of God, so he had a righteous way. He had that right way, and he taught it to Eve. Eve had the right way. She was partaking in the right way. All right, the serpent came with another way. of living, another way of existing. You see? And it says, verse 4, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. All right, which he was lying. For the Most High knoweth that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And ye shall be as gods, knowing good as evil. And what type of mind frame does Eve, the average nigga woman, have today? As if she's a god, a goddess, man. As if she deserves worship. But this goes back to the fruit that was given to her by the serpent, man. Verse 6, and this the point. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. You see? So she brought that way back to Adam, and Adam partook in it, and that led to what? Death. So through the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. You see? So now that's why when Yahweh came, he didn't even deal with women. You see, he was all about life. He was all about getting us back to that glory of immortality. And in this time frame, you have men, all right, his men that come in that same stead. All right, that's why Eve ain't gonna get no platform over here. All right, she not gonna be able to do what she want to do, teach, go into the scriptures. No, you stay far away from this. All right, you fumbled last time, so that's why you see, pretty much, all right, amongst the true followers of Yahweh, we do not, deal, all right, with giving women authority and platforms, because it can lead to destruction of the nation, man. All right, now, let's just play some more.
Catholicism is extremely witchy. I mean, drinking the blood of Christ, the host sacrament, that's a ritual. Like, it is witchcraft. They just don't want to call it that. I just feel like we kind of need to get rid of that taboo mentality of like, this is something that is like evil or, harmful, because it's not at all. It's the complete opposite of that.
Do you feel like in the last 5 to 10 years or so that is happening?
Because of social media, there's a huge surge of giving a light to the divination community and like witchcraft and everything, and people are now being more vocal about their practice and being more comfortable expressing themselves and showing their craft, and I think that's very beautiful.
This is Ultra Magica, or crystals, coming out of the broom closet. So I have Majori, the punk priestess, here in the flesh.
For many young spiritualists, the online community has replaced the one they might have had at church, but without the strict mandates that come with other religions.
I'm not the type of witch that likes to subscribe to rules. I just do whatever it is I please. If it doesn't fit the spell, I will improvise. It is what it is.
I feel like the rules, it's like oppressive. We need to have, the system. You have to be.
It's like the rules are oppressive, you see? And then what did serpent tell Eve? He like, the Most High know if you eat of this, you will know good and evil, and you will be like unto him. You see? So he came with that game as if the Most High was trying to hold, her back, But we see what this has led to, man. Complete madness, man. Complete disorder. All right, complete vanity, man. And this is nothing but that same game revamping itself. The serpent coming with that same game, all right? And through social media, all right, he pretty much presented that same fruit to Eve again, man. The witchcraft, liberation, and not being oppressed. And, because that's the cry from all women. Oh, we so oppressed and suppressed. And, come on, man. But it's the same game being ran in the modern time with just more technology, man. You see?
Certified, like, tarot reader. And it's like I want to like dismantle and get rid of that, because that's not what healership really is. You don't.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. You don't have to subscribe to these rules, because like who's telling you these things? It's, again, like have your own independent thought. That is what divination is.
I'm just holding it up.
Hey, Mandy Morris here. So I wanted to talk to you about a concept called counter manifesting. At least that's what I call it. And ultimately, it's this idea. Maybe you are super into manifesting. Maybe you're like, it's so woo-woo, it's intangible, I don't know how to make it work for me or whatever. But counter manifesting is basically the concept. First, let's go backwards. You're manifesting all the time. But counter manifesting is manifesting the things that we don't want. So our conscious mind says, yes, of course I want to be.
Everything is about witchcraft, man.
So
Everybody,
today we're in Southfield, Michigan.
everybody has a way. You know, everybody has a way. Everybody has a doctrine. Everybody can, you know, tap into, you know, some type of power. You know, but see, how about Shemal Shah is about to bust all this up, man. You know, beginning with the top, Esau Edom. So let's get that real quick. All right. He about to bust all this up, man. This is Isaiah, all right, 47. All right, and on 12, it says, well, I started at 9. This is Isaiah 47 and 9. It says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. Because everyone wants to try to make the Bible be some type of book where it's, you know, it promotes, you know, witchcraft and idolatry. No, it's against that, man. There's a judgment. That's why a great judgment is coming. Nuclear missiles are coming. All right. And one of the main reasons why is because of what? Sorceries and the great abundance of thine enchantments, man. You see, there's a judgment for these things to come. See, people, oh, I just feel like I can change the rules and it ain't no rules and I can just, you know, make a spell how I want it. You know, it's all about, you know, being independent. Okay. Now we're gonna see how this is gonna work out when the Most High moves in the in the spirit of judgment. All right, God Almighty. All right. Allah Shaja, when he gets ready to come through, all right, and judge, all right, these acts in the earth, man. Verse 10 said, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and knowledge it have perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. And see, this is the energy that's in the earth. You know, people get to, you know, tampering with the left hand side. They really feel like they're a god, that they're untouchable, like they, you know, have some type of unlimited power, you know, that they can go to, and they, you know, they don't have to follow rules. I still got power and prosperity. I don't have to follow no standard. You see? And it says, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon them, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. And this happened, all right, even in ancient time when you go back, all right, to ancient Egypt. You see? Because when you tap into the left hand side, it gives you some type of, you know, pride, as if you're exempt from, you know, judgments of regular people. Now you can manipulate, you know, your destiny. Like that Edomite talking about some counter manifestation, all this old madness, you know. Like they done found the loophole, like they're above, you know, regular people. They're, you know, on some type of level, man. But the Most High gonna show you not on no level, man. All right. When he decide to judge, you gonna get in line with everyone else, man. All right. This is on Wisdom Solomon 17 and 7. This was when the Most High was plaguing ancient Egypt, which this is where you get a lot, you know, of the philosophy and doctrine of these modern day witches and witchcrafts. It comes from Egypt, because even when the Greeks, when they came in and conquered, all right, Egypt, under Alexander. All right. You had Alexander go to where, man? He went straight into those Greek libraries. I mean, those Egyptian libraries and scrolls, and get into that magic, man, that dark magic. You see, Aleister Crowley, the whole "do as thou wilt" movement. He went into Egypt, you know, and got these different ways and philosophies, man, and these dark art practices, man, these wicked sexual practices, man, you know. And it says, this is Wisdom of Solomon 7:7. It says, as for the illusions of art magic, they were put down, and their vaunting in wisdom was reproved with disgrace. For they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves, and it says sick themselves of fear, worthy to be laughed at. You see? So the Most High is gonna reach out, all right, and slap the shit out of you witches and warlocks, man, and show you that you have no power. He's gonna make mockery, all right, of their little power that you think you got, man. You know? And it says, verse 13, it says, stand now. All right, this is Isaiah 47:12. Isaiah 47:12 says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. All right. So the Most High is mocking, like, look, stand now with these enchantments. And see, this is during the time of Isaiah. All right, which this is way after the Egyptian empire, before he did this to the Egyptian, So just as he made mockery of those ancient witches and warlocks of ancient Egypt, what you think he's gonna do to these modern day witches and warlocks of this society, beginning with the top elite on down to anyone who's within their practice, man? All right. It said, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Well, look, you've been able to go into the dark arts. You've been able to manifest and counter manifest. Well, let's see if that's going to get me off your ass in these days. All right. Let's see what that's going to do against me. Since you don't figure out how to manipulate things, and you can do all this. Let's see if that's gonna work against my judgment. All right. It says, behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor a fire to set before it. Thus shall they be unto thee, with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee, man. So judgment is upon, all right, this society, man. All right, and witchcraft and idolatry, all right, Satanism is a big part of this culture, man. All right. This is Revelation 21:7. It says, he that overcometh shall inherit all things. And this the elect, beginning with the 144,000, those joint heirs, all right, under, all right, Yahweh Shai. And it says, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son. You see, those men that's going to inherit the kingdom, the men of the elect. Then you have those women that are delivered, all right, to be wives of those men. And you're going to have certain households of those men, which is going to entail their women, all right, their women, whatever, and their children, man. You see? But the power, the men is going to be the ones that's tapped into that power directly into their source of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? And it says, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and the murderers and the whoremongers and the sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. You see? So there's a judgment, and pretty much, all right, witches were burnt alive, all right? And that was according to the law. And Yahushua is coming back judging according to the law, man. And when you go into the law, all right, straight to the point. Exodus 22 and 18, it says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." You see? And we coming to the time of judgment, and no witch will live. They will all be put to death. All right, thus said the Lord. So, Lord, will that was edifying. Till next time I say Shalom, Kwam, Yasha Allah, Abba, Babal, DTA soon.